Your avoidant ex is likely stalking you through social media, whether it be through their own accounts or someone else they know. And it often goes unnoticed because we have no idea they're doing it. And there's some interesting reasons as to why they do this, even though it seems like they've moved on. Your avoidant likely has been acting like they don't care anymore, they've moved on. It's almost like they don't love you anymore, they've just forgot about everything. I can guarantee you it's a facade because avoidants behave that way. Avoidants will suppress, push down their emotions and distract themselves through every means possible to avoid feeling what is actually real. Hence the avoidant attachment. Avoidant tendencies rise when things get real, when things get too intense, because it makes them feel like they're losing their independence when realistically they're not. So often, against their better judgment, they leave because of those intense feelings of fear and anxiety, but later discover that it wasn't necessarily real. They start looking back in nostalgia with fond feelings because they realize that maybe they regret making that decision. So they begin stalking you. They start seeing how you are because it means they can have access to you in some way, still feel connected to you but not have to reach out. It's almost like holding a thread onto you but not having to communicate, not having to reach out because they can see what you're up to, they can see whether you're single, whether you're not. And I can guarantee you it's not necessarily a malicious act or manipulative. A lot of avoidants do this because they simply cannot put their emotions on the line. It's a different conversation if they're narcissistic or users, manipulators, because then that can be part of it. Now they will see your stories, they will view your posts, they may even like it with a random account that almost rings a bell but isn't actually them. Maybe there's a name that pops up every now and then and you're like, do I know that person? And the weird thing is sometimes avoidants even show up at events that you've planned and you've posted on your stories saying I'll be here at this date, and suddenly they're there. Simply because they want to feel seen. They want to see if there's still a door open maybe for reconnection, whether you still care or not. That's why avoidants rarely contact you directly, messaging you or calling you or emailing you even, because they fear you rejecting them. So maybe they'll say something to a friend, maybe they'll pass on a piece of information to family to pass on to you, so they don't have to ask that question and feel rejected directly. Or even show up at events so they're seen to see if you'll engage. Now avoidants are very confusing because their behaviours are paradoxical to the way they actually feel. That's why you interpret their behaviours as being cold, distant, not loving you anymore, but then their actions kind of show differently at times. Hence viewing your social medias anonymously or passing on information to people around you, yet maintaining that distance they've so chosen. Now it feels like games. It feels like they're just doing this because they don't really want to be with you, but that's not often the case. And the harsh thing is, if you want your avoidant back, sometimes they don't realize what they've lost until they no longer have access to you. And there's actually a theory for that. You either become the phantom ex, or they reach out once you've moved on because they realize they've finally lost access to you. And that's something avoidants don't really think will happen because when they leave, they think that you'll still be attached long term. Now, I know sometimes you might think, well, if I act like I've moved on, maybe they'll come back sooner. But that won't work. And the reason being is because the real emotions that you suppress behind that, acting like you've moved on, will surface again when they come back. And then your avoidant's more likely to run away again because they realize you didn't actually move on. You did it as a manipulative tool to get them back. So if you've thought about it, I would avoid doing that because it causes more problems long term and may actually destabilize future reconciliation. But if you genuinely choose yourself, you choose your healing, you choose your independence and realize actually maybe I don't want this anymore, they will likely come back, but ultimately by then you may decide that this is actually not what you want. Sometimes that's a healthy thing, sometimes it's not. It's very conflicting, it's very annoying and confusing because you sit there and wonder why they're doing all of this, why they feel that way, why they feel the need to maintain distance even though they feel love for you. It doesn't make sense. The truth is it doesn't. Okay, because avoidant attachment goes against their unconscious. It is an unconscious behavior. It's a defense mechanism that they built through complex situations when they were younger. It's basically unhealed trauma. And for them to heal that, they have to face themselves. They have to take accountability, maybe even seek therapy and counseling because they need guidance. They need some form of inspiration to face themselves and heal. That can be you, it can be someone else, or it can be themselves, but it has to happen. And the last thing you want to end up in is a hot and cold on and off relationship where they leave and they come back, they love you, but they can't do this, because that keeps you in emotional limbo and you'll forever be stuck and you'll likely turn into an anxious attachment, which is the last thing you want. So always prioritize yourself, whether they're actually changing, healing, choosing you fully or not, because if you stay stuck in limbo or indefinite waiting, hoping they'll change, hoping they'll choose you fully, then, it's a long game for you. I really hope that gave you some clarity or cleared up some confusion for you. If this was helpful to you anyway, or if you need any support whatsoever, whether it be me guiding you on your situation or you have a question about your situation, then please leave it in the comments. But I wish you luck, and I hope you find what you're looking for in the end.